Ms. Cunningham, are you calling your next witness?
The state would call DL.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Please have a seat. Ms. O'Donnell, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you please say your first and last name and then spell it for us?
Detorius Langford, Detorious Lankford.
Okay, you said that awfully fast. Kim, were you able to get all that? Okay. Now, we've been referring to you by your initials. So is it okay if I call you D?
Yeah,
D, how old are you?
11.
When's your birthday?
October 28th,
Do you know what year you were born?
2011.
D, what's the name of your mother?
Aisha Langford.
I want to talk to you about an individual named Breasia Terrell. Do you know who that is?
Yes,
Who is that?
my sister.
What would you call her?
Bree,
And was Bree older than you or younger than you?
older.
Do you know how many years older?
3.
Now, I want to go back to the summer of 2020. Back then, did you live with your sister Bree?
Yes,
How was your relationship with her?
great.
Were the two of you close?
Yes,
How close?
really close.
Fair to say she's kind of like a second mom?
Yeah,
Did she look out for you?
very much, yeah.
Do you know someone named Henry Dinkins?
Yes,
In the summer of 2020, did you have some contact with Henry Dinkins?
a little bit.
At some point in that summer, did you go to a cookout and see Henry Dinkins there
At the river.
at the river?
Yes,
Was your mother there at that cookout as well?
yeah,
And what about Bree?
I believe so.
And did you see Henry then at the cookout as well?
Yeah,
Did you have some contact with him?
yeah,
At that time, did you also meet a lady named Andrea?
yeah.
Had you ever met her before?
No,
Were you able to determine if Andrea knew Henry?
I don't think so.
Okay. At some point, did you come to believe that Andrea was Henry's friend or girlfriend?
I thought she was his friend at first.
Just his friend at first.
Yeah, I thought so.
Now, I know you might not know the exact date, but was there a period in July of 2020 where you and Bree were over at your grandmother or your Nana's house.
Yes.
And on that day, did Henry show up at your grandma's house?
Yes.
What's your grandma's name?
Donita Gardner.
Do you know where she lives, her address?
614 West 63rd Street, apartment number 1.
Can you slow down and say that one more time?
614 West 63rd Street, apartment number 1.
Now, on the day that Henry came over to your grandma's house, did you know he was going to come over that day?
No.
When he arrived at your grandmother's house, what happened?
He came and got us, and we went to his house, and we was playing games.
Now, when you say he came and got us, who are you talking about?
Me and my sister.
Now, when Henry was at your grandmother's house, at some point, did you learn you were going to be going with him that day?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
Good.
Were you excited about that?
Yeah.
To your knowledge, did Bree want to go with you to Henry's house?
No, I asked.
You asked who?
My grandma.
You asked your grandma what?
Can my sister come with me?
Why did you want Bree to come with you?
Because I feel comfortable around her.
Do you remember if your grandma was going to allow Bree to go with you?
I think she had called my mom, if I'm correct.
Now, do you have an older brother as well?
Yes.
And are his initials CS?
Yes.
Was he over at your grandma's house that day?
Yes.
Did you want CS to come with you as well?
I did.
Did you also ask your grandma if CS could come?
Yeah.
No, I believe you've stated that Bree did come with you that day, correct?
Yes.
Did CS come?
No.
Do you know why he didn't come?
No, I don't know.
When you and Bree left with Henry, did you guys have any clothing or bags or anything with you?
Not at that moment.
Did you get in the car that Henry was driving at that time?
Yes.
What kind of car was it?
A black Camaro.
Was anyone else in the car besides Henry, you, and Bree?
No.
After you left your grandma's house, where did the three of you go?
To his house.
When you say his house, who are you talking about?
Henry and Andrea.
Now I want to back up for a second. Do you recall going to someone else's house and playing video games?
I don't recall.
Have you heard the name Vincent Howard before?
It sounds familiar.
Little Vince?
I don't think so.
Okay. At some point, though, you would have gone to Andrea and Henry's house.
Yes.
We're calling it a house. What type of building was it?
It was an apartment.
Had you ever been to that apartment before?
No.
Had Bree ever been to that apartment before?
No.
Once you got to the apartment, what did you do?
I was playing GTA.
And when you say GTA, what do you mean?
I was playing video games.
Does GTA mean Grand Theft Auto?
Yep.
Where in the apartment were you playing GTA?
In the living room.
While you were in the living room, where was Bree?
In the back room.
When you say the back room, what else was in that room?
A bed, a TV, and a closet.
In that apartment, was there only one separate room that had a bed in it?
Yes.
What was Bree doing in the back room?
Playing some type of card game.
Did you say car?
Yeah.
Was it a type of video game?
Yes.
While Bree was in the back room, where was Andrea?
In the back room as well.
Do you know what she was doing?
I believe on her phone.
Where was Henry when Bree was in the back room?
In the back room as well.
Where was Bree in that room?
On the bed.
And where was Andrea in that room?
On the bed.
And where was Henry?
On the bed.
And where were you again?
In the living room.
What were Henry and Andrea doing on the bed?
Watching her play the...
Watching Bree?
Yeah.
Did you find that weird?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was in the living room alone and they were in the back room.
You thought it was weird that they were leaving you alone.
Yes.
Now, at some point, as the evening went on, did you have dinner?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you ate?
No.
At some point, then, did your mom come over to the apartment?
Yes.
Now, did your mom actually come inside the apartment?
No.
Where did she stay?
She was in the car.
Where was the car?
In the parking lot.
Do you know why your mom came over to the parking lot?
To drop clothes off.
When your mom came over to drop clothes off, did anybody go outside to pick up those clothes from her?
Me and my sister.
So what happened when you met with your mom?
We grabbed the clothes and then we went back inside after we got done playing with the dog.
That was my next question. Was your mom alone?
Yes.
Did she have a pet with her?
Yes, you did.
Was it your pet dog?
Yep.
Did Bree try to keep the dog?
Yes, you did.
She wanted to bring it inside.
Yes.
Did your mom allow that to happen?
No.
Where was Henry when your mom dropped off those bags of clothing?
He was outside or he was inside?
Can you say that again?
He was outside or inside?
When you say outside, what do you mean?
Standing by the door.
So he was either inside the apartment or outside of the apartment somewhere.
Yes.
Where was Andrea when your mom dropped off the clothes?
Inside.
After your mom dropped off those clothes, did both you and Bree go back inside that apartment?
Yes.
What did the two of you do after you both went back inside the apartment?
We finished playing our games.
And did you go back to the same spots you had been at earlier?
Yes.
And where were Henry and Andrea at those points?
Still in the back room.
Now, the clothing that your mom brought you, did that include pajamas or clothes to sleep in?
Yes.
At some point that night, did you take a shower?
Yes.
Do you know how many bathrooms this apartment had?
1.
Did Bree also take a shower?
Yes.
Did the two of you shower separately?
Yes.
After the two of you took showers, were you given clothes to change into?
Yes.
Were they the clothes that your mom brought for you?
No.
What were you given to wear?
A long white shirt.
Do you know whose shirt that was?
Henry's.
Now, when you say a long white shirt, what do you mean by long?
It's over our fitting. I think that's what it's called.
Can you say that again?
Fitting.
How long on your body did the shirt go down?
Kind of like our knees.
Did you think that was weird?
Yes.
Why?
Because it wasn't our clothes that my mom brought us.
After you and Bree changed into those white shirts, what did the two of you do?
We ate and then we laid down, get ready for bed.
Where did the two of you lay down?
In the back room, in the bed.
Did you lay down at the same time?
Yes.
When the two of you laid down to get ready for bed, where was Henry?
In the living room.
Did you notice anything about Henry at that time?
He was upstaring.
He was what?
Upstaring.
He was staring?
Yes.
Staring at what?
It looked like the back room that I was laying in.
Where was Henry when you saw him staring?
In the living room.
Now, when you were laying on the bed, where exactly were you on the bed?
Kind of like in the middle.
Where was Bree?
Kind of on the edge of the bed.
When you say the edge, was she closer to the window or the side of a bed?
The side.
Earlier, you said there was only one bedroom in this apartment. Is that fair?
Yes.
Do you know where Henry and Andrea were sleeping that night?
It looked like an air mattress.
Where was the air mattress?
In the living room.
Did you ever see Henry or Andrea actually lay down on the air mattress?
Andrea.
And when you saw Andrea lay on the air mattress, where were you?
Still laying down.
In the bedroom.
Yep.
And where was Henry at that time?
Still sitting up.
At some point, did you fall asleep that night?
Yes.
Do you know if Bree had fallen asleep before you?
Yes, she fell asleep before me.
Dee, are you a heavy sleeper?
Not too much.
What about Bree?
Just a little bit.
At some point, did you feel something during the night?
A kick.
Do you know where that kick came from?
My sister.
Where were you kicked?
On my leg.
How would you describe that kick?
It was like a hard kick.
Now, have you slept in the same bed as your sister before that night?
Before we went to his house?
Yes.
Yes.
Had she ever kicked you before while you were sleeping?
No.
Now, when you felt that kick, did you wake up?
I woke up just a little bit.
When you say you woke up just a little bit, was it kind of very brief and you fell back asleep?
Yeah.
At some point then, did you wake up again in the middle of the night?
Yes.
When you woke up the second time, what did you notice?
That she was gone.
When you say she, who are you talking about?
My sister.
What did you do at that time?
I got up.
Why'd you get up?
Because she was gone out the bed.
What did you start doing?
I looked around the house.
Was anybody else awake when you got up and started looking around the house?
Andrea.
What was Andrea doing?
Looking out the back window where we was laying.
Where was Henry?
He wasn't there.
What were you thinking when you woke up and you notice Bree's gone, Henry's gone, and you're looking around the apartment?
That he took her.
Now, when you said Andrea was looking out the back window, what room was she in?
The back room.
Where the bed was?
Yes.
And that window in the bedroom, if you look out that window, what would you be looking at?
The parking lot.
So when you're looking around the apartment, you don't see Bree. What do you do?
I asked Andrea where she was.
Were you given an answer?
She said she didn't know.
Did you ask any other questions at that time?
No.
What did you do at that point? Where did you go in the apartment?
I looked around the house and then I sat down.
Where did you sit down?
In the living room on the couch.
Do you have any idea what time of day it was at that point?
I think it was morning.
Why do you think it was morning?
Because it was a little bit daylight.
So it's starting to get light out?
Yes.
Dee, did you have a cell phone?
No.
At some point, do you recall asking Andrea for her cell phone?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
So I can call my mom or something.
Why did you want to call your mom?
Because it was just me there.
Did Andrea allow you to use her phone?
No.
At some point, did Henry come back to that apartment?
Yes.
What did he look like when he came back to that apartment?
He had a white shirt on and some shorts.
How was he acting?
A little weird.
When you say a little weird, what do you mean?
Like different than his normal self.
How was he acting different?
It was... how should I say it?
Did he say anything when he came back to the apartment?
No.
What did he do when he came back the first time you saw him?
He came back, he grabbed something. I don't know what he grabbed, and he left.
So where did he go in the apartment?
To the back room.
And again, is that the room with the bed?
Yes.
Did you see where he went in the back room?
It looked like the closet.
Do you remember which closet?
The closet in the back room with the bed.
Do you know how many closets are in that room?
1 or 2.
So it looked like he went to one of the closets,
Yes.
and he appeared to have grabbed something.
Yes.
Do you know what that was?
No.
Did you see any talking between Henry and Andrea at that time?
No.
When he came back to the apartment, that first time you saw him, did you see Bree with him?
No.
After he grabbed something out of the closet, what did he do?
He left.
Right after he left, what did Andrea do?
She was still looking out the back window.
And again, that would be the window that looks in the parking lot?
Yes.
At some point, did you start to cry?
Yes.
Was it at that point that you started to cry?
Yes.
Why were you crying?
Because she wasn't there.
When you say she, who are you talking about?
My sister.
At some point, does Henry come back a second time?
Yes.
What does he look like the second time he comes back?
The same.
He appears to be wearing the same clothes.
Yes.
Is he still acting a little weird?
Not anymore.
What does he do the second time he comes back?
I don't remember.
At some point, do you leave with him?
Yes.
Did that happen the second time he came back?
The 3rd time.
The third time. So he comes back a second time, and then he leaves again?
No. Which time? 2nd or 3rd?
The second time he came back, and then he left again.
Yes.
Did you ask him any questions or talk to him at all during that point?
No.
Did you observe any talking between him and Andrea?
No.
So then he comes back a third time to the apartment?
Yes.
What happens the third time he comes back?
He comes to get me.
Again, what is he wearing at that point?
The same clothes.
How is he acting?
The same.
So normal at that point?
Yes.
When the two of you left, did he grab the bags of clothing that your mom had dropped off?
Yes.
Where did he put those?
In the car.
Which car?
It was a purple Camaro.
It was a purple car?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of car it was?
It was an Impala.
Do you have any idea what time it was that you and Henry would have gotten into the Impala?
Morning.
When we left off on Friday, you just started talking about how on the morning that you woke up and Breasia was gone, at some point Henry came back and got you, and you guys went out to the maroon or purple Impala. Do you remember all that?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you mentioned as well that Henry had grabbed both your clothing and Bree's clothing?
Yes.
Once you got into that vehicle, what did the two of you start doing?
We was just driving. That was the only thing.
You were driving?
Yep.
Did you drive somewhere specifically?
It's this guy house that I forgot. I forgot his name. But
Okay. You went to a guy's house?
yes.
That's new. That's new.
Do you know how long you were at the guy's house?
A couple minutes or
Now, when you got to that guy's house, did you stay in the car or get out of the car?
I was out the car.
Could you say that again?
I was out the car
You were out of the car?
in the house.
You went inside the house?
Yes.
What did Henry do?
I think he was outside drinking, if I'm correct.
Now, I want to make sure that we're talking about the same time period, okay? So the morning where you woke up and Bree is missing, right? And then you and Henry get into the purple Impala. So, in the morning. Are you following me?
Yes.
Okay. So when you and Henry started driving, where do you go?
In the Impala,
In the Impala.
we went on a dirt road. It's like
So when you got into the Impala and you started driving, was the dirt road the first place that you went?
yeah.
The guy's house that you were just talking about, is that somewhere you went in the Camaro or the Impala?
I think it was the Impala.
So again, talking about the morning where you woke up and Bree was gone, you get in the Impala and you drive to a dirt road. Do you have any idea how long it took you to get to that dirt road?
Well, I was asleep.
You fell asleep? Did it feel like a long time?
A really long time, yeah.
A really long time?
Yeah.
When you got to the dirt road, what happened?
We was at this place, what is it called? It had like trees.
Did the vehicle stop?
Yeah.
Then what happened?
And then we left. So,
Did anybody get out of the car at that time?
Henry,
When Henry got out of the car, what did you see him do?
pour bleach.
You saw him pour bleach.
Yeah.
Do you know where Henry got that bleach from?
Walmart.
When were you with him when he was at Walmart?
Yes.
When the two of you left Andrea's apartment that morning, at some point, did you go to Walmart?
I think so.
Did it take a long time to get to Walmart?
Just a little bit.
When you and Henry got to Walmart, what did you do?
I had to sit in the car.
You had to sit in the car?
Yes.
What did Henry do?
He went inside Walmart.
Did you know why you had stopped at Walmart?
I had no idea.
Dee, while you were sitting in the car, what did you do?
Put his battery back in his phone and was playing the game.
So, at some point you had seen Henry's phone in the car?
Yes.
Do you remember where it was?
By the cup holder.
By the cup holder?
Yes.
You said you had to put the battery back in the phone, is that right?
Yes.
Where was the battery?
Behind the phone.
Also in the cup holder?
Yes.
Do you remember what game you were playing?
No.
Just a game on his phone?
You said, is it on his phone?
A game on Henry's phone?
Yes.
When Henry got back to the Impala, did he have anything with him?
Bleach.
What did he do with the bleach?
He put it in the trunk.
Then what did he do?
And then we left.
What did you do with his phone when he got back into the car?
I hurry up and put it back.
You stopped playing a game?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned this dirt road. Did you do anything else to the phone before you put it back?
I took the battery out.
And why did you do that?
Because I didn't want to get in trouble.
Trouble for what?
Putting the battery back in his phone.
So after you left Walmart, is that when you went to this dirt road?
Yes.
Had you been to that dirt road before going to Walmart?
Can you repeat that?
How many times did you go to the dirt road?
Once.
And was that before or after you went to Walmart?
After we went to Walmart.
So then once you got to that dirt road, what happened?
He poured the bleach, and then we left.
Where did he pour the bleach?
By some bushes.
And where were you when this was happening?
In the car.
What did he do with the bleach containers after he poured the bleach?
He put it back in the car.
Once he put the bleach back in the car, what did he do?
He left.
Did he get back in the car?
Yes.
And where did the two of you go after that?
We went back on that dirt road, and then I asked him where we was, and then he said that we was riding, and then we went to go meet my mom.
So you asked where you were, and he just said, "We're riding."
Yes.
What does that mean to you? We're riding.
Like a joyride.
Like a joyride?
Yes.
Now, after you left that dirt road, at some point, were the two of you back in Davenport?
Yes.
Now, Dee, are you familiar with the area of Credit Island?
No.
The morning you were driving around with Henry, at some point, did you go to some area by water?
I don't recall.
At some point, did you go to Henry's RV?
Yes.
What did the two of you do when you got to the RV?
He opened the trunk of the purple Impala, and he grabbed out a bloody knife.
So he opened you said bloody knife
A bloody knife, yeah.
from the trunk of his Impala.
Yes.
What did that knife look like?
A machete type.
What did he do with the knife once he grabbed it?
He wiped it off with bleach.
Where were you when you saw him do that?
I was outside the car or inside.
You were either outside or inside the car?
Yes.
After Henry wiped off the knife with the bleach, what did he do with the knife?
He put it in his RV.
Dee, was that the only time you saw a knife that morning?
Yes.
You said he put the knife in his RV?
Yes.
How did you know that's where he put the knife?
I saw him put it in there.
Where were you when you saw him put the knife in the RV?
In the car.
Were you able to see into the RV from the car?
No.
Then how did you know that's where he put the knife?
Because he walked in there with it and he came back out with nothing.
Did you go into the RV at all?
No. No.
Dee, at some point, did you see Henry with a fishing pole that morning?
I think so.
Do you know where you were when you saw him with the fishing pole?
In the car.
Was Henry inside of the car with the fishing pole?
No, he was outside the car.
When you saw Henry with the fishing pole and he was outside of the car, were you still at the RV?
No,
Do you know where you were?
it was by water.
What did you see Henry do with the fishing pole when he was outside of the car?
Somewhat fishing.
He was somewhat fishing?
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
he was half fishing. Like,
So did he walk up to the body of water?
just a little bit.
And where were you when this was happening?
In the car.
When you saw him walk up to the body of water, what did you see him do?
Fishing.
Okay. Did he have the fishing pole at that point?
Yeah.
And did he cast the fishing line out into the water?
Yeah.
While you were by this body of water, was there ever a point in time where you could not see Henry?
No.
Now, the fishing part that you talked about here, did that happen before you went to the RV or after you went to the RV?
After.
Now, you mentioned that at some point you met up with your mom that morning. Is that right?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
She saw him in traffic.
Had Henry or your mom spoken on the phone at all that morning?
Yes.
And were you in the car when that conversation took place?
Yeah.
Do you know if Henry called your mom or if your mom called Henry?
I think my mom called him or he called her.
So one of those two things happened.
Yeah.
What did Henry tell your mom during that phone call? It's defendant statements.
Excuse me?
It's the defendant's statements.
Overruled.
So what did Henry tell your mom during that phone call?
That he didn't know where Bree was.
Did he say anything about having been out searching for Bree?
He said he was supposedly searching.
So he told your mom that he was searching,
Yes.
but you added the word supposedly.
Yeah.
Why did you add that word?
Because he wasn't searching.
Dee, the whole time that you had been driving around with Henry, did it appear that the two of you were looking for Bree?
No.
Did Henry ever roll down his window and yell out Bree's name or anything like that?
No.
Did he ever ask you to do that?
No.
Did he ever knock on anybody's doors to see if they had seen Bree?
No.
While Henry was speaking with your mom on the phone, did he say anything about the police?
He said that he made a report.
He said that he made a report.
Yes.
While you had been with Henry, did you ever see him make a police report?
No.
So after this phone call then with your mom, where did Henry take you?
She saw him in traffic, and then we pulled over back at McDonald's.
So your mom saw him in traffic and you ended up pulling over at McDonald's?
Yes.
Where did you go from there?
I got in the car with my mom, and then she made a police report.
Where did you and your mom go at that time?
To the police department.
Did you go back to the area around Andrea's apartment at all that morning
With my mom?
with your mom?
No.
But you do remember going to the police department that day?
Yes.
And were you interviewed by the police? Did they ask you questions?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Did you answer their questions?
Yes.
Dee, do you remember driving around with police officers a couple times?
Yeah.
And were they asking you questions about where you and Henry went on this morning?
Yes.
And did you try to show them the places that the two of you had gone?
Yeah.
And did that include areas by where your dad's RV was parked? So when you drove around with the police officers and you were trying to show them different places that you had been that morning, right?
Yeah.
Did that include showing them kind of the area where your dad's RV had been?
Yes.
And did that include the area over by Walmart where you saw Henry buying bleach?
Yes.
And did you try to describe that dirt road as well?
No.
Did you try to describe the area where you saw Henry with the fishing pole?
I believe so.
All right, thank you, Dee. I don't have any further questions at this time.
Mr. Freeze?
Is it okay if I call you D too?
Yes.
Okay, D. You doing okay?
Yep.
Tell the court, just for the record, who Henry Dinkins is to you.
My father.
Okay. You're angry at your father, right?
Yes.
And you're angry at your father because you think he hurt your sister, right?
Yes.
And you're convinced of that, right?
Yes.
And you're here today to offer testimony to make sure that he is held accountable for doing that, right?
Yes.
And you're going to say whatever you need to say to make sure that happens, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And the reason I ask you that is you're telling us some stuff today, and you'll agree with me on this. Tell me if I'm wrong. That we're hearing for the first time today, right?
Yes.
Like when you and your dad left in the Impala that day, you went driving and went to a guy's house first. The first time that you've said that on the record is today, right?
Yes.
Never told it to the police before, did you?
No.
It's today. This is the first time this story comes out in public, right?
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that you've been interviewed by the police several times, right?
Yes.
You'd agree with me that you and I had a chance to talk in this courtroom, and I took your deposition, right?
Yes.
You remember that day?
Yeah.
Remember you sat in that chair right where you're sitting now? Remember that?
Yeah.
And there was a person here who was a court reporter who swore you in, right?
Yep.
And you were swore to tell the truth, right?
Yes.
And I asked you all kinds of questions about what happened the day Breasia disappeared, right?
Yes.
Remember that very clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Because that was the only time you've ever had to give a deposition or testimony ever in this case, right?
Yes.
And you never once told me, when I asked you what happened that day, that you went to some guy's house first after leaving Andrea Culberson's apartment, right?
Yes.
And you never told me, and it's the first time today we're hearing this, correct?
Yes.
That Henry was outside drinking that morning. It's the first time, right?
I don't think it's the first time.
Well, you just told the prosecutor on direct examination that you went to this guy's house with Henry and you went inside. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
And that was the truth, right?
Yes.
And you said Henry stayed outside and he was drinking. Was that the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so it was early morning when Henry picked you up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Were you awake when he picked you up or were you still sleeping?
I was awake.
Was it daylight or was it still dark?
It was daylight.
But early morning.
Early morning.
Okay. So Henry and you go to this house. You go inside. Are the people inside awake?
No, it's just me and my sister that was inside.
Who's inside?
Me and my sister.
Who's Breasia?
Yes.
So Breasia's with you at this point in time?
When we went to this house, yeah.
The morning she disappeared?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after you left, where did Breasia go?
Can you repeat that?
After you left, where did Breasia go?
To his house.
To whose
What?
house?
Andrea.
Okay, so Henry took you back to Andrea's house?
Yes.
On the morning she disappeared, right?
Can you repeat that, please?
You just testified that Breasia was with you and Henry, right?
Yes.
And early morning hours of the morning she disappeared because you just said Henry picked you up and took you to this house, right?
It's when he first picked us up.
On the morning she disappeared, early morning hours, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I want you to be accurate. I want you to tell the truth.
I am.
Okay, so that morning, you and Henry and Breasia go to this guy's house.
Yes.
And you and Breasia go in the house.
Yes.
And then, what are you and Breasia doing in the house?
Playing games.
And Henry's outside.
Yes.
And he's drinking.
Yes.
And nobody else is in the house.
No.
So after you and Henry and Breasia are done there, where'd you guys go?
To Andrea house.
And then you and Henry went where?
That was the only place. Andrea house. That's where we was.
Okay. You having a little trouble with your memory, perhaps, Dee?
No.
Okay, so it's your testimony. I'm giving you another chance here, that this was the morning Breasia disappeared, early morning hours of July 10th.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then, you just testified to the prosecutor, is that after you left this guy's house, the first place you went was to some dirt road. Remember saying that?
Yes, I do.
Today's the first time we hear about that too, right?
Today's not the first time.
You never said it to me when I took your deposition last summer, did you?
I said it, but I didn't say it to you.
Who'd you say it to?
One of his other lawyers that was here before you.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Okay. And you went to this dirt road and you said that you saw him pouring bleach. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, you said you saw him pouring bleach over some bushes. That's your recollection?
Yes.
Now, this was after you went to Walmart?
Yes.
Now, the Walmart you went to was in a whole different town, right?
Yes.
Because you fell asleep on the way there.
Yes.
Okay. Now, he went to Walmart first to get the bleach,
Yes.
and it's your testimony that then you went to a dirt road,
Yes.
and he took that same bleach and poured it over some bushes.
Yes.
And it's your testimony today that this is not the first time you have told this story.
Yes.
You've told it to the police before?
Some of them.
Okay. And it's your testimony that Henry got out of the car and this is where he was where he was fishing?
Yes.
So he was fishing at the place he poured the bleach?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It was daylight at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. You never got out of the car?
No. I stayed in the car.
And how did you see him pouring bleach over the bushes?
Because you can see through the back windows.
Okay. Did he have to walk in the bushes a ways to pour this bleach, or did he just walk around?
It was over a hill. Like, there was like a flat road, and there was the bushes right there, down there. And he poured it.
So Henry's car is on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
And he had to walk over a little hill, right?
Yes.
And then he just, from the road, poured the bleach in the bushes?
Yep.
Okay. And what did he do with the bleach bottle?
He put it back in the car.
Pop the trunk and put it back in the car?
Yes.
Now, you were at Walmart and Henry went inside, and you said you got hold of his phone and put the battery back in the phone, right?
Yes.
You know what kind of phone he had?
No.
I mean, some phones are pretty hard to get the battery in and out of, right?
Yes.
But this one wasn't?
Uh-uh.
No?
No.
Did that phone have a passcode on it?
No.
What game did you play?
I don't know. It's like Candy Crush type.
Okay. And then from the Walmart, you just drove around till you got back to the mobile home, right?
Yes.
And Dennis, your testimony that Henry stops, gets out of the car, and you stay in the car, and he gets to the trunk again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. And now he uses the bleach again?
What?
Now he uses the bleach a second time?
He only used the bleach one time.
Well, I thought you told the prosecutor he used the bleach to wipe off a bloody knife.
It was like a spray bottle.
He had a spray bottle.
For the knife, yes.
Okay, describe the spray bottle for me, please.
It says cleaning, and it says bleach, and it's a spray bottle.
What color?
White.
Okay. He had a rag in the trunk?
A white. No, it was an RV.
I understand. But he had to get the knife and the spray bottle out of the trunk, right?
Yes.
So he would have to get a rag out of the trunk as well to wipe down the knife, right?
He wiped the knife at the RV.
In the RV?
Yes.
Okay, so how'd you see him wipe down the knife if he was in the RV?
He was standing in the middle.
The door was open?
An RV?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So describe this knife for me. What color was it?
It had a brown handle, and the pointy part was silver.
Brown handle, silver blade, right?
Yes.
And how could you tell it was bloody?
'Cause it had red stuff all over it.
Covered in blood?
Yes.
Blood dripping off it?
Yeah. No.
You could just see a lot of blood on it.
There was a lot, but it wasn't dripping off of it. But
Okay.
there was a lot.
Okay. So Henry sprays this bloody knife down right in front of you. That's your testimony.
Yes.
And he's, what, 5 feet from you, 6 feet from you when he's doing this?
I don't know how many feet.
Okay, well, you're in the passenger seat, right?
Yes.
And you can see Henry very clearly, right?
Through the back window, yes.
Yep. He can see you, right?
No.
You can see him, but he can't see you?
Yes.
How do you figure that?
My seat was leaned back. Like,
Okay. And it's your testimony that this bloody knife then, Henry takes a spray bottle, cleans it off, wipes it down, and takes it into the RV, all within, I'm going to say 10, 20 feet of you, right?
yes.
Risking the fact that you may see it, right?
I think so.
And it's your testimony that your dad came back and picked you up and took you someplace where he covered up some crime scene and sprayed bleach, right?
Yes.
And your dad came back and picked you up and sprayed down a knife, which may be evidence of a crime, in front of you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now the fishing pole and Henry going fishing, today's the first time we hear about that too, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that just a detail you happen to remember between the last time we talked and today?
No, I remember everything.
Okay, so you chose not to tell us when we were
I
asking you
barely
questions?
talk.
Excuse me?
I barely talk.
You barely talk.
Yes.
Okay. So when people ask you questions, you just answer them the way you want?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Notorious, I think you talk more than you give yourself credit for, and let me tell you why. Remember the day Breasia disappeared, you went on a ride with the police, right?
Yes.
And your mom went along for this, right?
Yes.
Now, you'd agree with me that your memory, the day Breasia disappeared, was probably better than your memory is today.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. So you think your memory's better today than it was?
It's always good.
It's always good. Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever told the police a lie?
No.
Have you ever told the police false facts?
Facts.
Just true facts?
Yes.
Okay. Well, do you recall the police driving you around that afternoon, between 3, 4 in the afternoon, and they took you down near the water by Credit Island, you and your mom?
Yes.
And they took you by a bait shop, and you said you remembered the bait shop.
I don't recall.
Okay. If an officer would testify that you said you remembered the bait shop, or there's a recording of it, that would be true and accurate?
Yes.
Okay. You recall that the officers went to a lagoon area,
A what?
a pond area at your direction, and the police said you said that Dad parked in the gravel parking lot and went fishing?
Yes.
That's true, right?
Yes.
You also recall telling him that day that Dad went fishing with 6 guys?
I did. Yes.
You told them that, right?
Yes.
And that's the day your sister disappeared, right?
Yes.
That's not true, is it?
It is.
So today, you're saying your dad went fishing with 6 guys?
I don't know.
You don't know if your dad went fishing with 6 guys?
No.
You also told the police that when Dad went fishing with 6 guys, you had to stay in the car, right?
Yes.
You also told them, in response to a question where they asked you where Henry went, and you directed them to a tree line to the west area of the entrance of Credit Island. Do you recall doing that?
No.
If the police have a recollection of that, or there's a recording showing that, would you dispute that?
What do you mean?
Would a police officer lie about that if he said you said that?
Objection.
No.
You can't ask a witness to comment on another person's credibility.
Withdrawn. Do you recall telling them where your dad went fishing with the 6 guys?
Credit Island.
Okay. Do you recall getting out of the car and physically walking with them?
No.
You don't recall that?
No.
You don't recall walking into the tree line, stopping, pointing to the ground, and said, Dad was standing right here?
Huh?
You don't recall getting out of the car, walking the police over to the tree line of the pond by Credit Island, stopping and saying, Dad was standing right here?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. Was that true?
Yes, it was.
So Dad took you there as well that day? Yes?
Yes.
And there were 6 guys with him, right?
They wasn't with him. They was already there.
Okay. Did Dad talk to those 6 guys?
I don't know. I did not even see him when you walked all the way back there.
You also remember your dad saying, as you were out driving that day, "Come on, Bree."
I don't recall.
If a police officer says you relayed that to him, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
Okay. Do you recall after Breasia was found that an officer came to your house and shared the news?
Yes.
Okay. You then also told police a different story, didn't you?
I didn't tell no cops no different story.
You didn't tell the police that you were present when Breasia was shot?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, you're making me mad and upset.
I understand that. You don't remember, you don't know, or you don't recall?
I don't recall.
You don't recall telling the police that you and Breasia and Henry and Andrea Culberson were all out at the location where she was found and Henry shot her?
I didn't say Andrea was with us.
Well, who'd you say was with you?
Him, me, and my sister.
Oh, so now you recall,
Oh.
right?
No, I don't.
You,
I don't know anything.
You just don't want to answer, do you?
I do, but you're...
What do you recall?
What do I recall?
You obviously recall that Andrea wasn't there, so you recall facts. What do you recall?
Us 3 there?
At the location where Breasia was killed?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't testify to that today, right?
Yes.
Because that's not true, right?
If you say it's not true.
I'm asking you.
I guess.
I guess, or either it is or it isn't. Either you were there when she was killed or you weren't.
I said, I guess.
I don't accept that answer, sir. Either you were there when she was shot or you weren't.
I was there. Damn.
So you were there.
Yes.
You saw your dad shoot Breasia Terrell.
Yes.
Okay. And how come you didn't say that when the prosecutor asked you? Because it's not the truth, right?
Everything I say is true.
Okay, so the whole story about the bloody knife and going to Walmart, you just conveniently left out the fact that you saw your sister get shot when the prosecutor was asking you?
I didn't leave it out. I didn't speak about it. I hate speaking about it.
Did you and the prosecutor talk about this ahead of time?
In private, yeah.
And you just told her not to ask you about it because you don't like to speak about it?
I didn't tell her not to.
Okay. Well, your testimony today is you saw Henry Dinkins shoot your sister.
Yes.
What kind of gun did he use?
I don't know.
How close were you to the incident?
A couple feet.
Okay, was it a pistol or a long gun?
How am I supposed to know what it is?
You were a couple feet away. That's how
I
you're
maybe
supposed to
saw
know,
it, but
sir.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, what color was the gun?
Silver.
Okay, was it a gun that you hold up to your arm like this, or was it one you just hold in your hand?
I don't know.
Okay. Isn't it true that you only come up with this story after you heard someone else talk about it?
No.
Okay. You didn't overhear police or your mom talking about how Breasia was killed and come up with this story?
I talk about what I saw, not what they talking about. What I saw.
Okay.
Not them.
Okay. You didn't make this report about what you saw until after Breasia was found, right?
I knew the whole story.
And you didn't tell the whole story when Breasia disappeared, did you?
I said I barely talk about it. I said that first before I got up here.
Okay, so it's your testimony that your mom and your family and everybody else is out searching for your sister. Okay? You know what happened, but you don't tell anybody, right?
No.
Okay, so your mom's out there literally scavenging every possible place to find the daughter that she loves. And you know that she's been shot, and you know where she is. And you let your mom go out and search that way?
I told her where she was.
You told your mom where she was?
Yes.
Right away?
Not right away, but someday after that.
So you're telling me now that you told your mom you knew where she was and where to find her, and your mom did not go look for her?
She did go look for her.
And didn't find her?
At that same place, she did.
Oh. Well, we'll ask her. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. O'Donnell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dee, Bree went missing about 3 years ago, right?
Yes.
You would have been 8 years old at that time. If you're 11 now, 8 years old back then.
Yeah.
And you talked about going over to a guy's house and that Bree was with you when you went over to that guy's house. Is that right?
Yes.
Did that happen when your dad first picked you up from, I'm sorry, when Henry picked you up from your grandma's house?
Yes.
So he picked you up from your grandma's house and then you went over to a guy's house.
Yes.
And what did Henry do while you guys were at that guy's house?
He was outside and we was inside.
So that happened before you went over to Andrea's apartment.
Yeah.
And so then you went back to, or after you left that guy's house, is that when you went to Andrea's apartment?
Yes.
And what happened when you got there?
We was playing games.
And where were you when you played games?
I was in the living room and she was in the bedroom.
When you say she, who are you talking about?
My sister.
At some point then, did the two of you go to bed?
Yes.
And where did you fall asleep?
In the bedroom.
At some point, did you wake up in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Where was Bree?
Not to be found.
Now, you were asked a lot of questions about fishing. Remember those questions? Now, you were asked those questions about you driving around with the police on the day that Breasia was reported missing. You remember those questions? And they took you down to Credit Island?
Yes.
And you told the police about your dad fishing during that conversation on July 10th, the day she went missing, right?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned, or or you were asked some questions about some other guys that may have been fishing as well. Did you actually see any other people fishing?
I barely can see them.
Were they just so far away?
Way far, yeah.
How did you know they were fishing?
They had fishing poles also.
And did Henry say anything about fishing that morning?
No.
But you saw him with the fishing pole?
Yes.
Dee, when was the last time that you saw Breasia?
We was at Andrea's house.
And was she in the bedroom at that time?
Yes.
Did you ever see her again after that?
That last time.
The last time?
Yeah.
When was the last time?
When she got shot.
Were you afraid to tell people that you saw her get shot?
Yes, I was.
Why?
Because it's hard to talk about.
Were you scared?
No.
Were you worried you might get in trouble?
Somewhat like that.
I don't have any further questions.